did you know at what point that you were going to start doing this as a service to people?
Oh, that's very interesting. Since I was a little child, since 5 or 6 years of age, I always, we had a relative who was a Jesuit priest, and I could see him serving different wars and people who were refugees from different wars, Spanish Civil War, German, Italian, like all over the world. He would help people. So I always used to say, I want to be like him. I want to travel the world. He spoke 7 languages.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to speak 7 languages.
You've got 4 down now.
I have 4. Missing 3. And I want to be of help like he is. So for some years I thought I wanted to be a priest because I thought in my mind as a child that that was the only way in which you could help humanity. Which in the end, it happened to be, I'm an interfaith minister now. So in a way it came back to me. Sometimes it's difficult for me to know if I'm like projecting a wish into the future or just foreseeing the future and acting upon it.
Or co-creating.
So it's difficult. I think it's probably both, but I have a struggle with that. And so it happened, that I became an interfaith minister. So since I was a little child, I wanted to be, surrounded by the environment that I had at that time that was spiritual, which was priests and nuns. And I wanted to, also the building for the Red Cross where we lived, there was a building of the Red Cross where people did volunteer work. So I was always surrounded by animals. They are my passion, especially dogs.
Yes, and if you heard something crying here, there was a dog that wanted to get very close to Mikel
Yeah.
this interview, so a whine, so yes.
But also people who did spiritual work or community service. I was always very drawn to that. But when I went to high school, I found out I got bullied a lot because I found out that not everybody could see, sense, feel what I was feeling. It wasn't in my hometown. It was in a different town. So whole new people, whole new environment. And they didn't take it easily on me. So I kind of tried to shut it down, but it didn't work. But on the side, I always did tarot cards and Spanish playing cards.
Okay, so if you did the tarot cards, who taught you to do tarot?
It's funny. It's funny you should ask me that.
So this was the first thing, this is how you got started. You started doing tarot and
Well,
doing readings, so to say, for people? Is that what
yeah, I started reading the Spanish playing cards when I was 14.
Who introduced you to it?
So it's funny, this lady, there was a classmate of mine and her sister owned an esoteric store. And she said, I want to teach you. And I was good at reading cards. But later on, years later, I found out that this lady really didn't know how to read the cards, that it was a mean only for her, to get
To have
money.
a livelihood. To have a livelihood.
A livelihood.
Okay.
But with her technique, I was doing maybe psychic, I was doing maybe clairvoyance. With her technique, I would be spot on. But Spanish playing cards are black or white. So I decided at the age of 16 that I wanted to learn tarot. My parents weren't very much willing to let me do that, so I kind of did it on like I hide it, and I did it on the side. And I was, I read my friends and my classmates, and all of a sudden I didn't have a break because during break time and lunch hour, other students from other grades would come.
Wow.
All of a sudden, I started having
So
this...
you weren't the odd one anymore. You were wanted.
I was the odd one, but I was wanted. Yeah. Then we started having students from other high schools come because then the news got spread, and even teachers.
Oh, interesting.
So when that started happening, it was so overwhelming that I had to kind of stop because I couldn't eat my meal. I would finish my class and there would be like a huge line of people waiting to be read. And I didn't have time to even eat my lunch, that's when I decided that I have to really, really seriously learn about spirit, about mediumship, about intuition, about, working with this gift and put it into service.
And
serving
this is
people.
eventually how you landed in Montreal, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so Montreal was the education piece to give you the credentials and also the foundation, so to say, how to operate, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing little things here and there, but there wasn't. I'm saying there wasn't because we tried to bring it up. There wasn't let's say an academic type of learning I could go to. And I had seen Marilyn Rosner on TV, and I wanted to go see her, but I never had the chance. I never realized when she was in town. All of a sudden, out of the blue, a friend of mine calls me, and he had bought three tickets for us to go see Marilyn. So he's like, "Would you like to go see this?"
Where was
woman?"
she coming?
She was coming to my hometown. There's a big psychic fair
In San Sebastian?
in San Sebastian,
Wow.
yeah, where she was lecturing.
Okay.
So yeah, that's interesting.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, I would love to go see this woman. And like I've been meaning to see her since I saw her like a few years ago on TV. And he's like, I thought so, and I bought us 3 tickets. And I went there. She didn't pay attention to me. She didn't see me. I was non-existent. I didn't get any messages whatsoever. But when she offered that there were 2 scholarships to go to Montreal, I just saw myself going there. And so it happened that I spoke a little bit of English because my mom speaks English and she taught me. And in one of the corridors, literally my friends pushed me towards her. And there was this lady that was trying to explain to her that she was going to Boston and then she would like to go to Montreal afterwards, but she didn't have the words. So that's when I stepped in and I said, well, she means this, blah, blah, blah. And then she looked at me and she held my hand and she said, hello, who are you? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And she said, you have a tremendous gift that you haven't unfolded yet. Come to Montreal for 6 months and learn. And I just dropped everything and quit my job and everything.
Beautiful.
And I went there, and I ended up staying there for 2.5 years, and that gave me the academic background. What is spirit? How do you communicate with spirit? There's not only about spirits. We had comparative religion, we had astrology, we would go, it's an interfaith community. So one day we would go to the synagogue, another day we would go to the mosque, another day we would go to the Unity Church or yoga camp. So learning about, we're all the same, we're all equal, we're all brothers and sisters, and we're here to serve. And how that communication and that bond can be enhanced and can be brought up to service. No, doesn't make sense, but we're gonna change that.
You make perfect sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a life-changing experience, Montreal. It wasn't easy.
No, nothing is, but you knew to pursue your gift, your purpose in life, and enhance it. And you came home and you opened up your own school eventually.
Yeah, that's why I always try to encourage everyone to pursue their goal, their purpose, and the mission. We all have a goal on the earth. We're all here for a reason, and I always try to get people to know what their mission is and to pursue that. And I encourage them very much because to me, it was, and I think it's for everybody, once you're doing your mission, it's like the waters open, the world open up. I went to Montreal for 6 months, ended up staying there 2.5 years. I ran out of money after the 5th month, but people were giving me things. I even got like an anonymous envelope with money once. And ever since that day, I didn't have to make any effort. Everything was easy.
So
opportunities just came to me.
One of the most important things
unfolded.
that you learned there again was trust with the spirit realm.
Trust. And I think that's one of the main things that it's missing nowadays when people want to do a spiritual work. You know, trust and have faith and trust in what you're getting and also act upon it. Don't stay behind. So I went back to San Sebastian. I didn't have money, so I was paying my Visa card with my Visa card. So the debt was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I kind of called the old company I worked with, and I was, doing both things at the time. Like I was working for this accounting, and I was also doing readings on the side. But it took me having a very bad car accident. I had to have a very bad car accident. Like 2 months after I had arrived in Spain, that literally took me out of the road. I could have died, but I didn't die. Thank God. But it's funny because when I was on sick leave, again, with very little money, I had to pay rent, I had to pay so many things, and I didn't have money. But that's when people started finding out about me and coming to me for readings out of nowhere. I never advertised, I never did anything. It just, people started showing up.
Just like in high school.
Yeah, after I had my...
No time to eat.
I know.